Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Fridate with the Wife. In these episodes, my wife and I offer an entrepreneurial couple's perspective on living a more fulfilling and meaningful life. We share our little humble opinions and hopefully make you laugh as we navigate the ups and downs of being entrepreneurs and parents. And speaking of fulfillment, if you want to hire me as your coach, head over to robshowcoach.com, fill out an application, and we'll jump on a call to see if we are a good fit to help you create and design your dream life and business. That's robshowcoach.com. Before we get into today's Fridate episode, our next Work Hard, Play Hard Mastermind event will be in Dubai and Abu Dhabi for the F1 race on November 16th to the 19th. These trips are designed to get you out of your day-to-day, around some amazing entrepreneurs, and provide bucket list experiences that will have you coming home re-energized to grow your business and bring your life to a whole new level. Head over to workhardplayhardexperience.com and fill out an application. Okay, let's jump into today's episode. Kimberly, New Peripheral Road, number 2. Hi.
Why are you saying New Peripheral Road?
Well, we're doing this podcast in Greece, in our hotel room, and we're using the iPhone. And if you've ever used voice memo in an iPhone, you'll see that it randomly creates a name for the location in which you're doing the recording.
So it's literally giving our address.
Right. So,
so we're on New Peripheral Road. That does not sound like a Greek name.
This is what's most interesting to me. I want to know if there was an old Peripheral Road number 1. So actually, this is interesting. It's New Peripheral Road because I've done this twice. That's why I called it number 2. So if you want to know where we are in Mykonos, we're on New Peripheral Road. But that's not why we're here today. We're here to talk about a rebrand. Kim, can you open your iPhone for a second?
Sure.
And can you go to my Instagram page, because there's a line that I want to read. That I think will say that. So let me take it because you don't know what I'm talking about. The biggest lie we tell ourselves is how we have plenty of time. So there's a great quote that came from the Buddha that Jay Shetty has shared on TikTok or whatever. And it's now an audio that's being used across a lot of different platforms. And it was one of those quotes that I heard that hit me right between the eye. It was a video, and if you could pull it up, it'd be worth it to play. It was you giving me the finger? What kind of finger are you giving me?
A nice one.
A nice one. It doesn't appear to be the middle one, so I guess we're okay. You have it, so we can play it. Is that what's happening now?
It's gonna play in just a second.
Okay.
I just need to find.
When asked what's the biggest mistake we make in life, the Buddha replied, the biggest mistake is you think you have time. Time is free, but it's priceless. You can't own it, but you can use it. You can't keep it, but you can spend it. And once it's lost, you can never get it back.
So if any of you or those who follow me, they know that there's a thread of that sentiment that runs through the work that I do and the work that Kim does. But I've never heard it put in the way he put it. I don't know if it's Jay Shetty's
his accent,
his steely blue
eyes. Would it have sounded the same coming from someone with like a lower Jersey accent?
Like if Phil Rosenthal did it, would it be as impactful? It would be funnier. But it was one of those things that really, really stuck out. And it stuck out so much that I knew that there was something that was in it for what it is that we do, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it.
So what I feel like, you started this thing talking about a rebrand for us. And I think this is an evolution. Life and business and everything is an evolution. And you and I began back in, let's call it 2005, creating videos with our first company, Jet Set Life. JetSetLife.tv. We read Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Work Week. We said, let's turn our passion for travel into a business. And really what we did was we turned it into a passion project. We made some money, not a lot of money. We've talked about this before, but we traveled the world. We shot 20 shows, and it was all about in-season, high-end, really fun destinations. It was a lot of party. It was a lot of excitement. It was Saint-Tropez. It was on Mykonos, was one of our biggest ones. We went to Brazil. We did Rio de Janeiro. We did a lot of things in that, right? And that was like, let's call it 2005 to 2012. We had podcasts, we had ebooks, we had courses. And again, we didn't make much money from it, but we made a lot of really great connections. And we created a foundation for what we're doing today. And when I look at the evolution that we've taken from Jet Set Life into Work Hard, Play Hard, and now into what we think we're going to be calling Live Life Now. If any of you follow us on social media, we have put out many names to you guys about our rebrand. And if I really think about it, this message of you have one life to live, time is precious, is what we started with. Because the whole point of Jet Set Life was to stop saying I'm going to do the 9 to 5 until I'm 72 years old or whatever the retirement age was at the time. And I'm going to live life now. Literally, our tagline at that time was excuses are over. It's time to live. So it's interesting to me, Rob, that it took us, 20 years to come back around to the exact same message. But I think we're doing it with more mature eyes. I think we're doing it with more meaning. And, but I think that through line, that messaging has been here from the beginning, and it has just evolved. And so I'm really excited for this new chapter that we're opening with Live Life Now and where we're headed.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that is important to think about, whether, if you're going through what we are going through right now, well, let me rephrase this. I think for anybody, there is an evolution of a brand, particularly when it's a brand that is a lifestyle brand or an intimate brand. In other words, it's not like, we're not building Nike here, right? We're building something that this is a very small operation. It's just Kim and I, and it is a core message that resonates with our soul. And I think as you go through different iterations, when you have a company like that and you go through different iterations of your life, that brand evolves with your life because it's a brand that's tied to your life. Yeah. And we initially started with the idea of Jet Set Life, which was kind of where we were at the time, right? It was our first exposure to going to, someplace outside of the Jersey Shore and, seeing people that were, I don't know, in Morocco on camels, or in, one day they're in Morocco, the next day they're in, Saint-Tropez, and the next day. And so that made sense to us at that time, that we were living what we call the jet set life. But then as time went on, we thought about it and we're like, well, there's a little bit of a douchey component to it. It's got to be deeper than that. And that sort of evolved into,
we became deeper.
We became deeper, but there was the point in our life where, we wanted to get out of chiropractic and do something different. And that sort of led into the idea of work hard, play hard. We were working really hard in the office, but then we needed an escape valve and we wanted to play hard. And then that brings us up to date now, where that work hard, play hard feels not true to where we are right now, because we're not, that work hard mentality was where we were at that time.
Well, sort of. I also think it was, I think you were trying that on, to be honest. I think you were trying on the work hard component of it, because even when we went to California, like, you were done working at 2. Let's be honest, right? We did have the period of time, maybe let's call it 3 years, where we were juggling the clinic, the network marketing company, and you bringing back the podcast and all of those things. So yes, work hard definitely made sense. But I think that you were more talking about what you were working out in that. And I also think work hard, play hard is something that the American solopreneur understands and can get behind, because they live in a world where it's a 24/7 grind. And during the period that you launched Work Hard, Play Hard, everything was like, you work your ass off. Your phone is your work, and you're always around work, and you're always, everybody is like in the grind. Everybody was talking about grinding. So I think the marketing of Work Hard, Play Hard was something you were working out as well, because you look at your friends that are entrepreneurs, right? That are grinding. And there was a part of you that was like, I should be grinding like this. But then your inner being was like, Robert, don't grind, and just play hard. And so, you were probably 25% work hard, 75% play hard in your life. But even that has evolved, and then it started to not feel so good anymore. And when we moved to Italy, the work hard component just sort of dissolved, right? Because that's not the neighborhood you live in anymore. And, Rob is writing this book about nature, nurture, neighborhood, and how your neighborhood affects you. And the neighborhood we're in Italy just isn't that. It just isn't the grind. It is, I know it says I'm opening at 3, but if I feel like opening at 3:45, then that's what I'm doing. Like, the shops don't care. That's not the culture. The culture is life first. And so I think now having really tapping into who we are, one, and I think we're going back in time and tapping into that jet set life, but we're elevating it. And the messaging is the same, but it's deeper. It's about really creating fulfillment and not just an escape. Jet Set Life, I feel like, was slightly an escape shoot because you were working, right? It was an escape shoot. It was, you work really hard. It was Work Hard, Play Hard without the name. It was don't save it all up for retirement, live life now, which is ironically where we're headed in branding, in the name. So I think this has been a really interesting evolution, and I'd love to get the feedback of anyone listening that has. I know a lot of you have followed us since our Jet Set Life days. And let's say we kicked off Jet Set Life in 2005, I think is when we did. We weren't married. And so I think it was about 2005 when we kicked off Jet Set Life. We're coming up on 20 years later.
It's a long time.
And so people have been following us since the very beginning. And I'd love to get feedback and thoughts on how you think we've evolved, because I know now I am more fulfilled than I ever have been before. I'm more connected spiritually to my inner self. I'm more connected to what I want to do. Just our vacation here in Mykonos, we've been coming here as long as we've been together. And when we first came here, it was a whole lot of parties. We were coming home at 7 a.m. And it was a very different experience. It was margaritas all afternoon. And it was like burning money, right? And we're here now. And yes, we have a kid and all of that, but our desires have changed. We're older, we have a kid, and I'm sure there's still people doing exactly what I just said. But for us, the evolution is different.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the big point that I want to make is I know a lot of people who are listening now have their own businesses or want to have their own businesses. So, the first piece of advice that I would give you is be open to different signs, because it comes in weird places. This was something that Kim just made that reel. And it really, it was like a moment where I stood in my tracks and I was like, this is it. Like I was literally screaming in my head, this is it, this is it. And I don't often do that. And so that was really, really important to me. And then it set forth in motion asking different questions. And so I went on to my story and I asked people
on Instagram.
Yeah. And I asked people, why do you follow me? Like, what do you get from this? What am I giving you? Why do you come here? Why do you watch this? And, it was one of those things where you can like put a little question and people can answer. So I screenshotted all of the answers. And we had dinner with Chalene Johnson and Brett Johnson the other night. If you don't know who they are, they have a show called Build Your Tribe and the Chalene Show. And they're just really smart. And so I was telling her the story and she said, well, let me see those answers. I said, they're kind of all over the place. And so she looks at it and she goes, they're not all over the place. There's a through line through all of them. And I was like, what is it? And she was like, live life now. And I went, oh God. Like she said the very thing we've been saying, but didn't know that we've been saying it for almost 20 years. But I didn't, having her say it and me say it was different because it was validation and reinforcement, maybe. But
let me tell you this. I know there's a lot of people that listen to our show and that are trying to figure it out. Here's what that one dinner and this trip has done for me. We have come full circle to this very moment. And we started out, when we started that first company, Jet Set Life, we started out in 2005. You were a chiropractor. I think I was kind of working with you, but I was still working in the personal training company. And we were doing this as a passion project, hoping that we would make some traction with it, right? But our life was very different. You were working 12-hour shifts. I was working at least 12-hour shifts. And the vacations and the trips that we took were our escape, and Jet Set Life was our passion. And over the last 15 to 20 years, we have gone through figuring out how to replace income, then automate income, then manifest where we're going, then build momentum in multiple streams of income, to now literally living our dream life. And yes, it took 15 fucking years, but guess what? That's okay because we're living it now. And so if you're listening to this and you're at any stage of your journey, like maybe you're in the place where you're trying to replace the income, or you're in the place that you've replaced the income, but now you're trying to automate, or maybe you don't know what your dream life looks like. We've been there and we've literally done it from A to Z. And I think that is what we're going to be bringing to you in this new chapter of Live Life Now.
Yeah, it feels right. And, for the last week here in Greece, and it's one of the reasons why we come to really any location. We choose our locations as wisely as we can, but we choose them to create surroundings that will allow us to process information, think about things, and allow, sort of those deep thinking that kind of comes out when you're relaxed and feeling good. And so we've used the last week to kind of kick around this idea. And it has been just a phenomenal lens in which to process the direction we're going. So we'd love to hear from you. Let us know what your thoughts are on this rebrand, if it resonates with you. And I think that's all I have to say. What do you have to say? Anything else? You done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, that's it, everybody. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye. All right, thanks for listening. If you love this episode and you know someone that needs some help in either stepping up their work hard game or their play hard game, it would mean the world to me if you shared this podcast with them to help me get this movement out there. So if you like what you heard, head on over to iTunes, take 30 seconds, and leave me a 5-star review, and I will be forever grateful. So until the next episode, excuses are over. It's time to live.